we are done with my little coffee sweater public service announcement. Let's get back to the chat. This is chat number 296, which means if you are new, there are 295 other chats on YouTube. That's just youtube.com, search at the @ symbol. If you have an egg, it will should take you straight to the channel. Once you get there, the new Weight Watchers program, chat number 295, that's going to automatically start playing, but there are 295 other chats to go and watch. If you need to download anything I'm talking about, like if you want to print it, you can go to IfYouHaveAnEgg.com and there will be printable notes for all of this. But last week we spent the entire chat and next week we will get back to a more normal chat. But I had enough questions. I felt like we needed to answer the rest of them tonight. So next week we'll definitely be talking about kitchen safety. Maybe make something while we're talking about kitchen safety. Again, if you're new, these are a 1 hour long chat. The first 30 minutes is classroom. It's whatever the previous week's topic was for Weight Watchers. And then the second half is something fun. Something fun tonight is talking about the remaining questions that I had from the new Weight Watchers program. Next week, fun. And I can still only use one hand. Next week, fun means talking about kitchen safety. So, Deanna, I need you to cover your ears and your eyes for just a second. For those of you that are new, I did have a kitchen incident a couple of weeks ago that kept me... Hold on a second. Let's see. I'm sorry. Caroline wants to know, she has a question. Have you had a chat on overeating and emotional? We do talk about emotional things in several of the chats. Caroline, I will try to go back and find one of those for you. Okay, but Deanna, I love the Retta. Deanna, I need you to cover your ears and your eye. I'm not going to put it up close, but cover your ears and your eyes for just a second. And I will wave at you when I'm done. But I'm not going to get real close to the camera, but I had a kitchen injury, stupid one. 2 weeks ago. So next week is not fun. Next week we have to have a serious chat about kitchen safety. Okay, Deanna, you can uncover your eyes. We're done talking about that. Okay, so for the second half of tonight though, we are still talking about the new Weight Watchers program. Got some more questions that I need to answer. But if you all have any more questions, feel free to go ahead and pop them into the comments, and I will try to circle back around to them. Some things, and you are more than welcome, Deanna. Some things, because I'm sure there are more. It's more than just you, and they're just not brave enough to say anything. There are a few people here who are smarter than me and will know the answer to some of these questions. We usually do have at least a Weight Watchers leader or two on here with us, not always live, but we normally do have one that goes back, is kind of looking at some of the comments that you all have. So you can either comment here live, and Terry doesn't like to look either. So Terry, I'm sorry. Okay, we're done. So it's going to stay down here for the rest of the night, and I'm done talking about it. But I'm going to answer some more of the questions, but if you do have any other questions, or you know what I could do? Hold on, I have a pocket tonight. Okay, so if you do have any other questions though, please feel free to put them in the comments. We are live here on Facebook right now. You can put them in those comments. If I don't get to them live, I'll try to, circle back around later. When this posts, after we get done, this will be posted on Facebook. You can ask questions then, or when this posts on YouTube. I love it when y'all ask questions on YouTube, and on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com under the chat. So if you ask there, we will find out. Okay, so few more questions that we had, either didn't answer last week or had in this last week, additional questions that we had. First question I had was, so how many 0-point foods are there on this list? Okay, and let's see, Larry and Mary. We're going to answer that one here in just a second. So they want to know, how many points do you get? We're going to answer that one here in a few minutes. And Patsy saying when her app updated, did not ask her for her weight, gender, whatever. Patsy, it probably still had whatever that last information was, so you do not need to answer that again. That's a great question though, Patsy. Patsy's asking if you had to re-enter all of that information. You shouldn't have to. If you're new, you'll have to put it in the first time. Should not have to put that kind of information in the second time. I would recommend though that you go ahead and track your weight. If you haven't tracked it in a while, go ahead and track that. Okay. So one question I didn't answer from last week, well, one of them I already answered. So that was how many points a day roll over? 4, up to 4. So I got to keep telling myself it's up to 4, because if you don't save any points, if you don't have any points left over, then 0 roll over. If you have 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 4. If you had 6 points left over for the day, 4. It's only 4 will roll over to the next day, and then that ends whenever your week starts again. Then those are gone. And Patsy, you are welcome. Okay. So then I've been asked 100 times, how many 0-point foods are on this list? It is over 200. 200. If you count each one of them individually, it is over 200. I did not go through and count exactly how many that is, because some things are not redundant, but like lettuce. Lettuce is lettuce in my opinion. So we have iceberg lettuce, we have butter lettuce, blah blah lettuce. I'm not counting 5 different versions of lettuce as 5 things, but it is over 200. If you can't find something to eat, and we have had a chat about that before eons ago, and I'll have to look that number up too, but we have had chats before about what to do if you can't find anything out of over 200 things to eat. So perhaps I'll make that the topic of another chat, coming up here in a few weeks. Kitchen safety chat is first though. Okay, so over 200. Next question was, do I have to track 0-point foods? No, you don't. Part of the beauty of this plan is you do not need to weigh, measure, count, or track your 0-point foods if you don't want to. You can if you want to. You absolutely do not have to. You do not have to, because I've had people ask too, do I have to weigh them? Do I have to whatever? You don't have to. Okay. But if you don't have to track your 0-point foods, why would someone track their 0-point foods? Because that was almost the next question was, okay, well, if I don't have to, then why would somebody even do that? That was actually a question that came up during our live. Oh goodness, Norma has to have a total hip replacement surgery on December 8th and is changed to online only. Oh my goodness, well, just do this workshop, because we're not going to let you lay there if you're having hip replacement. Hey, they're going to get you up as soon as you're done. But yeah, or listen to us. Maybe while they've got you walking laps in the hospital or in rehab, listen to us. That would be an awesome way to do it. But so in our in-person workshop, we were talking about whether or not you had to track the 0-point foods. And then the next question was, okay, then why would somebody? Okay, I'm that somebody. I track my 0-point foods. You do not need to track, do not have to, do not need to. Deanna does too. Okay, so I track my 0-point foods because I need to, if I'm having any like weirdness in my weight loss, I need to know what I did or didn't eat, because I can go back and see, oh wait, I had either, for me, fruit. I'm not diabetic, but for me, fruit, if I have fruit every single day, I will not lose weight. That's not true for everybody, but I can go back and look and see, there we go. I've had that too many days, or I've not had enough vegetables, or if I'm feeling sluggish, and we do have chats about, sluggishness, and we'll just call it that. But I'll go back and look and see, I haven't had enough vegetables or enough water or enough whatever. So if you're changing things up, if you're too hungry, if you just want to make sure that you're getting enough non-starchy veggies or whatever, that is a reason that you might want to track. And Carol Lou does it. She tracks her 0-point foods to keep herself in check. Debbie tracks hers so that she can see the protein amounts to make sure she's getting her enough protein in her day. That's a great reason. Scott tracks everything because he uses that information. So he needs to be able to go back and see that, because Scott keeps a very definite record of how he's doing every single week, and he publishes that for us so that we can share in his joy, and also so that we can also realize every week doesn't have to be perfect, and every week is not a true reflection of how we did. But I think it's important for Scott to track everything so that he knows when he sees those trends, he can go, hold on just a minute. What was I eating or not eating? Or did I need to eat more of? Or, something like that. Okay. So the next one was, do I have to update my app? You should not have to update it. There were some minor glitches, which didn't seem minor to the people that they were happening to, but there were some minor glitches that seem to have been taken care of. Although I have found a few pointing errors, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. But if you're still having problems seeing the latest information in the 0 points list, so again, you should not have to force update it. But if you just feel like this just doesn't look right, then maybe try uninstalling and reinstalling your app, but make sure you know your name and your password. Okay, so that's a thought on something that you could do. So what's the next question after that? If I said try uninstalling and reinstalling your app, what do you think the next thing is I'm going to tell you? Y'all know me. You know what I'm going to say. Make sure you know your login and password. So that was the next question. What if I forgot my login and password? I can't uninstall and reinstall my app. I don't know my password. How am I ever going to get back in? And that I hear, I don't know my password. What is my password? I hear that so much that it reminds me of those. I don't know if y'all have seen those commercials where the people are going, check your zip code. I checked my zip code to make sure I'm getting the benefits I deserve. That commercial has so worked on me because all I ever want to do is check my zip code. Anyway, check your password. I feel like that little old lady on there. Check your password. So if all else fails, if you don't feel like you've gotten the app update, if you don't feel like that everything's refreshed, if you feel like you're still missing something, and you uninstall and try to reinstall the app and you can't remember your password, even though I've said 100 times, get your password. Guess what? You can go to the device. Oh, hold on. Debbie said, I heard some rumor that Android devices were not updated until later. And she says that is false. She says that is false information. So if you do that, if you uninstall and reinstall your app and you've forgotten your password, you can go use the device that you registered with, or you can go to a computer and try to log on and click on forget password and then enter the email address. You do have to remember the email address that you used to sign up, and they will email you a 7-digit code to get back in. So you should be able to get that 7-digit code. So I used to try and panic everyone into remembering, because it used to not be that easy to get logged back in. And hello, Donna from Canada. It used to not be that easy to get back in, but now if you'll just go to that device, go ahead and click on forgot password, they will put in your email address, the email address that you registered with. They will email you a 7-digit code to get back in. Okay, the next question. Does activity automatically add points, or can I turn that off? I asked that one. That was a question I had at my in-person workshop, because I personally do not want my activity points added in. I don't want them to show as available in my daily points. That's one, really like 2 little things, 3 little things maybe that I am still kind of fussy about. It's okay in the grand scheme of things. I'm so happy about how easy this program is, but they will automatically add. So activity points will automatically add to your available, for that day. And there is no way to keep them from doing that. Right now, as of right now, this is 2022, November of 2022. So I'm sure, maybe someday they'll come up with something, might decide to, might not. But currently the only way to prevent this from happening is to, if you don't want your activity points to automatically show up in your dailies, then you have to turn off syncing with your fitness device. Okay, I don't really want to turn off syncing with my fitness device. I still want to see how many points I earned. I just don't want them to be available for food, because I don't use my activity points for food. So I'm not going to turn off syncing my device. And yes, Debbie, yeah. So Debbie, you are on a 2-second delay, because that's exactly the answer I just gave. I don't want to unsync it, because I do want to see how many. So somebody might want to. So that's why I'm telling y'all you can unsync it. I personally don't want to, so I just have to remember, okay, I earned 3 points today walking, so don't eat those 3 points, Kelly. But anyway, as of right now, there's no way to stop that. You just have to turn off syncing, or mentally remember, don't use those points. Okay. Then earlier we had the question, how many points a day will I get? So points are, Lynn, they do add to your weekly. Lynn is correct. They add to your weekly, but, and yes, Debbie, I do talk faster than you can type. They add to your weekly points, but I still don't want to use those. So I still have to remember take those out. Take those out because I don't want to unsync that. Okay, thank you for pointing that out, though. It is weeklies and not dailies. Okay, so the way points are calculated, so the number of points that you get per day, the number of daily points that you get per day, and to some extent your how many weeklies you get, but the number of your daily points in particular are based on your age. So again, we talked about this last week. I'm 55. Your height, I'm 5'5" if I stand up really tall, and your weight, and then what your sex was assigned at birth. So you need to answer those questions truthfully. If you've not ever answered those, so like if you're brand new, then you need to go ahead and answer those truthfully. So for me to say that I am a 35-year-old, 5'10", 125 pound, whatever, does me no good. Hello, Mindy. And maybe Mindy can answer the next question, but for me to answer those questions. So again, if you're brand new and you're just filling out the things on your app for the first time, age, height, weight, sex, assigned at birth, that's going to help make up your daily. That is going to make up your daily number. It has something to do with your metabolic rate they take into consideration all of those things. But if you don't answer them correctly, so if I said, so again, I'm 5'5", I'm 55 years old, I'm 5'5". If I said I was 35 and 5'10", and that I currently weighed 125, my points would be my points would be so jacked up, they'd be so low that I would just be mad, and walk off, but it wouldn't be true. So there's no human looking at this. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's going, well, you're really only 5'2" instead of 5'2.5", and you had the burrito for lunch yesterday, so you weigh a pound more. The sodium made you weigh a pound more than you did. There's no human judging you on this. Answer those questions correctly. And yes, Mindy's exactly right. She says that's why men typically have a higher points value. She's exactly right on that. But answer them truthfully. Again, no humans looking at it. Whatever. It's all a calculation. It's an algorithm. A computer is going to be doing it. It's a no judgment zone. But you just need to answer it truthfully. And if you haven't answered those questions in a while, so like if you haven't tracked your weight in a while, you might want to go ahead and go in there and do that. If you are weighing a little bit more right now, like me, than you did pre-pandemic, you might get a few more points. Your points will go down as you lose weight. But anyway, let's go in there and answer that. Okay, Mindy, this is where you might have come in just in time. The next question I had, and I've had this one several times, is what is the lowest number of points a person would get per day? I think it's 14. Don't know where I heard that, but I think it's 14. And yeah, I don't know anyone that still just has 14 points. Like mine's back up to 23. I mean, mine was like my 0 point food list, because I had this, like when we were still doing personal points, mine was lower because I had so many 0 point foods on my list, and I was eating so many 0 point foods. So mine has gone up to 23, but I believe 14 is the lowest that anyone would be assigned. And I don't know what you would have to do to be assigned 14. Mindy says 23. You think 23 is the lowest? I don't know why. I think it's 14. I don't know. We need to look into that. I swear I think it's 14, but I couldn't tell you where I heard that. So, okay. So that's an unanswered one. You all just go ahead and mark that as unanswered, or Mindy's probably right because Mindy actually works there. So 23. Okay. So we're going to say 23 is the lowest that you can get. Yeah. And now everybody's jumping on the Mindy bandwagon. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So we're going to say it's 23 is the lowest. Okay. Next question. Why do some foods have higher or lower points value? Okay, so somewhere, because y'all know I like to be right. I don't have to be right. I just don't like being wrong. So I'm gonna keep asking people what the lowest is, and then I'll let you know if I find out anything different. I'm just telling you, I heard it somewhere. Okay. Anyway, so why do some foods have higher or lower points values? Foods that are higher in things like fiber, protein, unsaturated fats, those are going to have lower points values. Foods that are higher in calories, added sugars, and saturated fats, those are going to have higher points values. So if you noticed anything change, still calculated the same way, it's still calculated exactly the same way as personal as the personal points plan. If it was a food that had points designated, so like if it was an individual serving of chips and it was 4, it's still going to be 4. But anyway, that's what determines whether it's going to be higher or lower. Next question was, why did my 0 points food list still say that oats were 0 the first few days? Okay, so I had a couple of people that oatmeal was still showing 0 for them, or oats were still showing 0 for them. I had somebody that avocado was still showing 0 for them. I had several people that fish was not showing as a 0 point food. And it was the funniest thing for me to try and explain this to them. I said, like, with all new rollouts, so any new rollout of anything, of a computer program that has this many data variations, I mean, it has to be in the millions of hundreds of thousands anyway, of data variations. There's almost no way to account for every single anomaly that's going to happen in a rollout if you have to roll something out to the public all at one time. So if there weren't thousands of people getting this information and it has to work all at the same time, sure, you got time to work out the glitches. But this many configurations, it's going to have some little tweaks. So the people that were saying, it was funny, the people who oats were showing up as 0, they believed me when I told them that it was coming off. But the people who were not getting fish on there, fish and shellfish, as a 0 point food, for some reason didn't believe me. And I was like, it's gonna be on your list. Hold on, but trust me, it's going to be on your list. No, I don't think I get it as 0. I had one person tell me that their 0 point food list only had tofu and tempeh and yogurt, plain yogurt, and fat-free plain yogurt and fat-free cottage cheese on it, and they were going to quit. And I was like, do not quit. That is a glitch. That will be gone. That will be done in a couple of days. Don't you dare quit, because for a couple of days, I'm telling you what they are. Write them down. Just go back to your app in a couple of days. Okay, that one. And then the last question was, I mentioned some points errors earlier. What does that mean? So even though thousands of programming hours have gone into a rollout like this, there are still millions of food items that have to be individually updated. So I found several brands of beans in particular. Most of them were store brands that when you just scan the can, it was coming up as points instead of 0. Just to make sure, I just went and made sure that there were no funny things in it, like no added meat, no oils, no weird ingredients, whatever. And then I saved, and so then I scanned the information and I saved it as a new food and saved it as 0. So if you don't know how, we do not have time tonight for me to show you how, but if you do not know how to add a food, like if it doesn't something that doesn't automatically come up, or if you think, I need to check that one. Remember, there are millions of individual foods. I mean, like, if you can imagine, take a can of pinto beans. Kidney beans was the one in particular I found. There's Kroger brand, Publix brand, Meyer brand, Bush, Luck. I mean, there's just in that beans. I mean, there could be, 100 variations that all of those have to get taken care of. So anyway, I'll do another YouTube short. I don't know if you all noticed, but if you go to youtube.com and search @IfYouHaveAnEgg, I've been doing a series of shorts on there. I've also been doing them as reels on Instagram to show you some tips on things. The nice thing about those is it's a video of my phone screen and not of my finger. So you don't have to look at my finger for me to show you that. Okay. So I want you to comment below with your favorite thing about the new Weight Watchers program. I love it when y'all comment. I love it, especially when you comment over on YouTube. Please, please, please remember to share and subscribe the YouTube, to share and then to subscribe to our YouTube. I can't tell you how many, most of our new members, so most of the new members in the If You Have an Egg group are there getting the help that they need, because life is hard. Losing weight shouldn't be. Okay, you're going to hear that a lot. Because somebody took 2 seconds to share a YouTube video and subscribe to it. Okay, it's free. Please do it. Okay, so that is enough for tonight. Oh, hold on a second. Mindy says her favorite thing is the excitement of the new members. Mindy, We talked about that in the beginning. People are so excited. I talked to 3 people today who are rejoining Weight Watchers just because they were like, oh my gosh, this one's so stinking easy. This is so stinking easy. I'm coming back. So anyway, yes, enthusiasm is high on my list. Okay, so everybody have a good evening. I would love to be able to move my right hand again. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you all good night. If you are watching this later on YouTube, I think it's going to be over here. Go ahead and let that next video roll over. The next video tonight would be chat number 295, which goes into all the details about the new program. Go ahead and subscribe. Click this little button down here and subscribe. And then, what was I starting to say? Hit subscribe, and don't forget to click that little bell so that you'll be notified when, when the next video comes out. But talk to me. Let me know how it's going. I think everybody's super, I'm seeing lots of excited comments here. Yay, that makes me so happy. But you all have a fantastic evening, and I will see you next week for our kitchen safety chat. So if you I'm going to go ahead and say, Deanna, the second half, Deanna and whoever my other friend was who is squeamish, I want you there next Sunday. The first half will be a normal chat. Second half, it's going to be about kitchen safety. Anyway, good night, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time. Good night.